move Top Gun.
Let's commence the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular meeting agenda. Wednesday, May 3rd at 5:42 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Real.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado is absent. Councilmember Pacheco.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar.
Here.
Councilmember Hodge.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Closed session agenda. Call to order, public comments, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the city council on closed session items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, as it's unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. City council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included or printed on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Do we have any public comments? We'll adjourn to closed session.
You guys want to go to my office?
Hello and welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular session meeting. We will commence at 6:39 p.m. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Real.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado is absent. Councilmember Pacheco.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar. Councilmember Hodge.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we have Javier Gonzalez do the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have an invocation by Pastor Eduardo Cesenia from Generación Victoriosa Church. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can we please rise? I'm sorry again. Ponemos de pie, por favor. Y hacemos una oración. Dios, te damos gracias por la oportunidad que nos das de poder ser parte de esta comunidad, de esta ciudad de Calexico. En esta tarde venimos a pedirte que tú nos des la sabiduría. Yo te pedimos por cada miembro de esta mesa directiva para que tú le des la sabiduría, la guianza. Y te pedimos, Señor, que podamos ser esa generación, que podamos ser esa ciudad donde nuestras nuevas generaciones que quisieran ser parte de ella, vivir aquí. Te pedimos, Señor, que tú abras la puerta para que los negocios y las bendiciones de parte de ti vengan a esta ciudad. Te pedimos por la armonía, el compañerismo y el respeto. Y las gracias te damos. Bendice la ciudad de Calexico. Amén.
Thank you, Pastor Eduardo Cesenia. Closed session announcements. Attorney?
We discussed one item, but have no reportable action.
Thank you. Announcements. I'm sorry. Approval of the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Presentations. We'll move to presentation number 1, which is proclamation of May 2017 as Veterans Appreciations Month. Veterans Appreciation Month of May 2017. Whereas the City of Calexico appreciates and admires the thousands of men and women who served in the armed forces and protect and preserve their country and their freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. And
whereas in war, international conflicts, and peacekeeping missions, men and women have been wounded, taken as prisoners, and died in the line of duty. And
Whereas veterans possess a wide variety of valuable qualities, including experience, maturity, leadership, and loyalty, that make them ideal candidates for employment. And
whereas the City of Calexico is committed to ensuring that veterans receive the services and programs to which they are entitled, and to promoting employer interest in hiring veterans. And
whereas during Veterans Appreciation Month, state and local agencies increase employer awareness about the benefits of hiring veterans. And
now therefore, I, Armando G. Real, Mayor of the City of Calexico, on behalf of the Calexico City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2017 as Veteran Appreciation Month in the City of Calexico. In witness whereof, I hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on this third day of May 2017.
excellent.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say thank you to the members of the City Council for this proclamation. It's an honor for all veterans to declare a month to be for them. All those that have served for this country through the years up to now, those that made the ultimate sacrifice, especially those, because of them, World War I, World War II, we speak English. We speak Japanese or German. And I ask the public to concentrate your praise for those still away from home. We already had too many that haven't returned to the families who were left crying and still crying. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And once again, thank you, City Council members.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next presentation, Proclamation of Police Week, May 14th through the 20th, 2017. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Police Officer Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And
Whereas the members of the Calexico Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the City of Calexico. And
whereas it is important that all citizens know, understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And
whereas the men and women of the Calexico Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service.
Now, therefore, be resolved, the City Council of the City of Calexico call upon all citizens of Calexico and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of Sunday, May 14th to Saturday, May 20th, 2017 as National Police Week with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing, have established for themselves an inviolable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. And
City Council further calls upon all citizens of Calexico to observe May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, throughout their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respects to the survivors of our fallen heroes. In witness whereof, I, Armando G. Real, Mayor of the City of Calexico, hereunto affixed by signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on this third day of May 2017.
I want to say thank you, Mr. Mayor and Honorable Council, for the proclamation. It's usually the week of May 15th that Police Memorial Weekend falls on, so May 15th is Police Officer Memorial Day. And this started off under President John Kennedy's administration back in October 1962. So it falls for the annual tribute of law enforcement service and their tributes and their sacrifices. Last year in 2016, 147 officers died in the performance of their duties, and so far in 2017, the count is at 61. With that, there's a second part of this. I've always enjoyed the tradition of when we hire new police officers to bring them to the council meeting and introduce them. Over here, I'd like to introduce Officer Jorge Ruiz. And standing next to him is Officer Luis Soberanes. We've already met Officer Abigail Hernandez. She's on her days off right now. There's a third part. The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks of the City of El Centro Lodge number 1325 hosted an annual Public Safety Officers Appreciation Night on Friday, April 21st. And they requested the Calexico Police Department to select an Officer of the Year candidate. So we did. This officer was hired in April 2002, sworn in as a full-time officer. In June 2003, he was assigned to the K-9 Division and worked uniform patrol. December of 2014, he was assigned to investigations. This is a 13-year veteran of the Calexico Police Department. He's our range master, he's our department's firearms expert. He's a field training officer, and he recently updated our field training manual. And he's also a quartermaster, so he's involved with the preservation of our property and evidence. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Calexico PD's Officer of the Year, Armando Orozco. Why don't you show everybody that plaque you've got?
Chief?
Very good.
Thank you very
Chief?
much.
Thank you, Chief.
Could we have a picture with him?
Sounds great.
All of us. We don't do this often, so we need to support.
At least once a year.
Do you have somebody who has a good camera that can? I know it's not, that's why I'm asking.
This is nice. You too? Nice.
spoiling it. Also, last Saturday, we had Coffee with a Cop at Starbucks.
Yes.
It was attended by Mr. Hodge. Thank you for showing up, sir.
You are quite welcome. I'm there anyway.
Hodge likes coffee.
Thank you to our police department. And I just want to add that it's, policing has always been a dangerous field of work, I think, and so is firefighting, anything that's public safety. But I think everybody, if you guys watch the news, these last couple of years, it's been really tough for the police around the nation with these hate crimes and these crazy people just walking up to them and doing these horrendous things to them. And my hat's off to them because I think it's always dangerous, but now even more so. Every stop, every interaction with people, you just never know around our country. So prayers to everybody, all the fallen heroes, and hopefully prayers so that these crazy people would stop doing that to our police officers. So thank you again to the new guys. Welcome to Calexico. Moving on to our third presentation, proclamation for Natural Public Works Week, May 21st to May 27th, 2017. National Public Works Week. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and
Whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, parks, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And
Whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and
Whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials, and
Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff our Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and
now, therefore, I, Armando G. Real, Mayor of the City of Calexico, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through the 27th, 2017 as National Public Works Week in the City of Calexico, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. I witness whereof I hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on this third day of May 2017. Who's here from, oh, here we go.
Mr. Finley. This is yours.
Moving on to public comments and public appearances. Note not to exceed 3 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the City Council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is on a consent item, please comment now. The City Council is prohibited by state law by taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment in is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Do we have public comments?
Javier Gonzalez?
Honorable Mayor, members of the public, staff, Javier Gonzalez. I'll be representing Kennedy Gardens Neighborhood Watch and myself first. First, I want to thank you for Yesterday, on behalf of the mayor, we went and with Commissioner Yanez to San Diego State University's Arbor Day celebration. It was very nice because nobody celebrated Arbor Day. It's the first time Kennedy Garden doesn't celebrate Arbor Day in 12 years. And the reason we didn't celebrate is because 85% of our trees are dying, and that's horrible. We're happy that the students, they kept on with the tradition, and not only did they celebrate Arbor Day, and we donated 3 large trees, they actually did a workshop where they trained. They gave a workshop where they gave skills to the students on how to plant a tree, how to take care of a tree. So we're very happy. Your proclamation was very well received by the mayor. Last week, Kennedy Gardens, on behalf of the mayor, gave the Eddie, our honorary mayor, the official badge and official city key to the city. That key to the city is one of the 4 keys Kennedy Garden has gotten. We shared one with Eddie during the Heffernan. We just want to let you know. And another thing that we're very sad is that we've been reporting in our social media about the openings on the All-American Canal. We counted like 12 openings, and the city is responsible for that. Under the municipal code, the city is responsible. There's 12 openings on the All-American Canal. We used to close it because of the safety, but we can't do it anymore. And it's open. It's right open. Summer is coming, and the kids. We're just hoping no kid can get there. But it's been open. Several of them have been open since September. Pretty big holes. They're very visible from the street. That's something you guys should move on. Another thing that I want to talk about personally is that I saw Univision yesterday. I'll talk in Spanish. Miré Univision ayer y hubo un reporte sobre, no lo quisiera traer ni hablar de esto, y es posiblemente porque la ciudad hizo cero, porque no queremos pasar por este dolor, pero uno de los miembros del concilio se tomó la responsabilidad de representar a la ciudad y dar su opinión personalmente, y eso no está bien. Habla el administrador o habla el alcalde, pero dio su punto personal y yo creo que eso no está bien porque, no porque hagan cero significa que ganaron. No porque hagan cero significa que ganaron, significa que a lo mejor la ciudad no quiere un dolor de cabeza o cualquier cosa. Pero como yo lo vi como nos pusieron como que perdimos. Pero recuerden que esta persona que ganó, hasta el final supimos que era empleado. Siempre se nos dijo que era un contratista, un consultant. Pero varios sabían que se le había contratado como empleado. No nos dijeron hasta el último. Hay muchas cosas que me hizo venir aquí a hablar porque no ganaron. La ciudad nomás no quiere hacer cero. Por ejemplo, ahorita estamos hablando del sexual harassment. No sabemos si hicieron cero. Sabemos que no puede haber un sexual harassment de un councilman al otro, porque para hacer eso tiene que tener control uno sobre el otro, y no lo hay aquí. Entonces, son cositas que nomás vinimos a hablar porque nos molesta. El representante es el alcalde de la ciudad. Gracias.
Thank you.
Did you understand Spanish?
Thank you. Do we have more public comment?
James Fever.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I just want to get direction by the council for the need of completing Form 700 with the Police Advisory Commission when it's right now stagnant by an order of the city manager to cancel all activities and meetings until all 5 commissions are appointed. So do I still have to complete Form 700, and what would the deadline be?
City manager, would you like to address that or make a meeting with Mr. Beaver on that?
I'll be happy to meet with you and discuss that.
Okay, on that subject. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve.
Next on public comment.
Carmen Estrada.
Buenas tardes, soy Carmen Estrada, representante del programa Calexico Parents Athletic Association. El día de hoy estamos aquí un grupo de personas del programa pidiéndoles de nuevo al concilio, ojalá esta vez si sea algo real que nos ayuden. Estamos en una crisis muy grande nosotros como programa, no nomás nosotros, todos los deportes, el cual no se animan a llegar aquí. Yo sí me animo y voy a continuar. viniendo aquí a cada momento. Y yo les pido a cada una de las personas que están sentadas que se levanten, porque si ustedes nos pusimos ahí, votamos por ustedes, fue para que nos ayudaran a la comunidad. Vayan, vean los parques cómo están. Estamos en crisis, señores. No se vale. Desde noviembre, diciembre, enero, febrero, marzo. Si acaso hemos jugado dos semanas, que estamos hablando de 15 días. Primeramente fue por las lluvias. Ok, no tenemos parques. Después, porque se llenó el parque de agua, porque hay demand del agua para allá. Ok. Después, un mes y medio, estaba la mitad del parque apagadas las luces. Apenas hace 3 días que las encendieron. ¿Por qué no hacen ese trabajo? Yo sé que no hay un electricista aquí en la ciudad, pero nosotros como comunidad tenemos la gente para que ayude a ustedes con licencia, el cual no nos han tomado en cuenta para que venga la ayuda. La verdad yo no sé qué pasa, por qué no quieren ayuda si estamos en crisis, no tenemos dinero. Entonces, acepten la ayuda, señores. Yo ya no había venido para acá. ¿Por qué? Porque estaba mala de salud. Pero aquí estoy otra vez. Y por favor, concilio, necesitamos unirnos y tener una reunión para que esto se lleve a cabo, porque no se vale tener tanto niño parado y no estar jugando. Créanme que béisbol, softball, todos los equipos están tristes, el cual no quieren venir a hablar aquí por falta de represiones personales. Yo no tengo miedo, yo voy a continuar y les pido de favor, antes de salir aquí, nos digan qué día pueden atendernos para llevar a cabo un plan de trabajo en conjunto con ustedes. Nosotros como liga, sé que muy poquito, 3 minutos, pero espérame un segundo. Nosotros como liga nada más no hacemos deporte, hemos ponido cerco, hemos puesto 125 árboles, el cual se nos secaron 50, teniendo goteo, se han secado. Y infinidad de cosas. Por favor, necesitamos ayuda de ustedes, se los pido de favor. No sé de qué manera yo pedirles a ustedes esto. Yo soy representante del CIPAL de casi 1000 niños y nosotros como programa no tenemos dinero. Nosotros si acaso agarramos $8,000 que se van en medallas, casi 6,000, más aseguranza y otros detalles de desfile que no llegamos la meta nosotros a tener tanto dinero porque no todos los niños dan una cooperación. El que tiene da y el que no, no. No es un programa de dinero y se los puedo comprobar. Tenemos niños, pero no dinero y no recibimos donación, recibimos producto, equipo, es todo lo que hacemos. Si ustedes, cada uno de ustedes quieren ayudar a la comunidad, párense y vayan a ver los campos y vean cómo está. Hay un fondo del Parque Adrián Córdoba. Hay que sacar ese dinero, señores. Nosotros no tenemos un parque digno. Por favor, se los pido de favor. Gracias.
Next public comment.
Good evening, Cecilia Wallace. I live here in Calexico on Rosas Street. I'm here with my son representing some of the mothers that have been supporting the soccer league. As you know, she has just mentioned, unfortunately, there are no fields, no proper fields. We've been here 2 years and we come from a different area where this would not take place. I'm not sure what the funding is like, but I would like to know as a resident, are there any proposals? I don't know, maybe I need to read up on it for proper sports programs or support for those programs from the council members from the city. I think the Parks and Rec department must be very tiny here, I'm not sure, but I would hope that as parents that we support our children, we want them to stay active and do things, that there is a better place for them to participate in these sports programs. Pretty much that was it. I'm tag teaming on to what Carmen has said. I called her the other day pretty upset because there was no light. I drive down on Saturday nights, the lights are blazing on, nothing's at the field. No people, no kids, but the lights are on. Come Tuesday, they're supposed to play. Last Wednesday, they were supposed to play, no lights. I was pretty upset, to be honest. I called her and I said, what do I need to do? She said, maybe more parents like you need to address the council, and I guess that's why I'm here today. As a resident, I'm dissatisfied with the programs that there are for our children, and hopefully that you can hear us out and something can be done. Thank you.
Mrs. Wallace, I'm
Yes.
sorry. What parks are you addressing?
Well, I don't even know if it's a park, but it's the hole, they call it the Oyo, across
water
the street
retention
from
basin.
the.
In front of the school district, that
Yes,
retention
3 times
basis?
this young boy here, Samuel Wallace, 9 years old, has come home soaked because it was flooded. I'm like, why are you playing in that water? Is it even safe? I mean, I'm there and I'm swatting at a bunch of mosquitoes. It's not appropriate area for kids to play, and I think it needs to be taken quite seriously. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex Baroni?
Honorable Mayor and Honorable City Council, I come here today because I'm concerned. And I'm concerned, I don't want to spoil the party for the police department, but crime is up. And I can tell you, me personally, I live right across the street from City Hall, across the street from the police department. They stole my motorcycle. They stole the motorcycle. You had to carry it out. So and I didn't call the police because what for? They're not going to investigate. They're not going to look for the person that did it. And close to 8 months ago, they broke into one of my utility vans, stole all the tools. My mother, who lives right around the corner from me, her house got broken in. We identified the assailant and called the police. They saw him there. Police took off and took off. Me and my sister took off, and we did our investigation. We caught the guy. We caught him, and the Border Patrol helped us. And when the PD showed up, they let him go because they said it wasn't the guy. So I believe there's a crisis in our police department. Maybe it could be staffing, it could be the strategy they're using for policing, but you guys need to do something. Talking to Mr. Pacheco not too long ago, what was it, a couple of months ago, Mr. Pacheco, you told me your mother-in-law or your neighbor also got broken into. Anybody you talk to, they're getting broken into. So what's happening? Everybody gets a ticket. We pay our taxes. We don't give a crap about tickets. Keep us safe. Keep us safe. Stop those break-ins. Stop that activity that's going on. And I heard Mrs. Estrada talk, Mrs. Wallace, and maybe that's where you guys should be looking for funds, supporting sports programs, because it helps kids stay out of street, and it's like a curriculum for them because they get into sports. So find some monies and fund these programs. Let's help our kids. That's where economic development really begins, with our people, with our community. Charity starts at home. Let's stop spending money on companies that come in and this and that, and we spend all this money on consultant attorneys. Spend money on our kids, on our community. Find the funding for her program, for Mrs. Estrada's program. Neighborhood watch. Maybe we need a neighborhood watch, but in any case, I'm getting a little away from the topic, but we need to see what's going on. Support the chief. Bring more police in. Bring more. Mandy, you said cities under construction. Let's start with our police department also. Let's start helping them construct a police department. When I was in city council, we had close to 60 police, and what is it today, Chief? 20 policemen you have? 24. Now we get the picture. Okay, so let's keep our eyes on keeping our community safe. It's one of your obligations. It's, when you take that oath, you're supposed to, keep us safe. Keep us safe. Let's look into policing. Thank you.
Ricardo Servín?
Good afternoon, my name is Ricardo Servín. I live in 882 in Calexico. this Saturday, somebody went by to our big rock, this big, it hit my car. It's a big dent. I report the police department. The passed by there, I saw in Corey Park, there's a lot of guys on bikes trying to steal stuff from do school and come the park, Corey Park. That has been done when I talk to the police. I need them to be checking that area. They make a big dent. You know how much I had to pay deductible in my car? $500. And I can afford that. I used to send somebody to be checking the door and Cormac Park, please. That's all I need to say.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Felipe Mesa?
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Felipe Mesa, soy coach de soccer desde el 2008. Creo que, pues, ahorita vengo representando, aquí veo varios equipos de aquí con nosotros y voy a tratar de ser breve porque la verdad esto es muy traumante, porque no puede ser que desde 2008 que estoy yo, empecé con niños de Calexico jugando en Heber, y gracias a la señora Estrada me trajo para acá, para Calexico, porque yo tenía niños de Calexico jugando en Heber, en la escuela de Heber, que me dieron permiso. ¿Qué pasa? Desde 2008 estoy en el Parque de las Casitas y veo que no hay luz. O sea, en invierno me gustaría que fueran de ustedes. Yo sé que en este cuarto, aquí, hay gente que no le gusta el soccer. Ni modo, el soccer es el deporte, el primer deporte en todo el mundo. Aunque no les guste, yo sé que hay personas aquí, pero van, cuando estamos allá, van por el voto. Van por el voto. Hemos estado en meeting y aquí están ellos que no me van a dejar mentir, que han ido, gente que está aquí en el concilio, y a la hora de que ya están acá arriba, se les olvida, ya no se acuerdan de nosotros. Y yo, mire, mi misión, y creo que estamos aquí varios, yo no voy a sacar Maradona, ni Messi, ni Cristiano Ronaldo. Yo quiero buenos niños, buenos estudiantes, buenos hijos, buenos ciudadanos, que no estemos en la calle, que no vayan a hacer sus desmanes, pero necesitamos la ayuda de la ciudad. O sea, ¿cómo vamos a practicar un deporte si no tenemos dónde? En invierno me gustaría que fueran a las casitas. Tengo niños de 5 años, ese es mi hijo, ese es 5, y deberían de verlo cómo andamos. No podemos practicar porque está oscuro. Y yo no veo apoyo, estoy desde el 2010 en ese campo. En el 2010. Y yo no le veo que hayan hecho avances. La verdad es algo que es molesto, y la verdad yo no sé si tenga que llegar al extremo tengo más de 50 niños yo, más de 50, y creo que hay equipos que tienen más que yo. O sea, o es necesario que traigamos a los padres de familia a invitarlos. ¿Sabes qué? Pues no nos hacen caso, hay que ir a la ciudad, hay que ir adelante Valle, hay que ir al Imperial Valley Press. Y disculpen, estoy hablando en español porque, como se han de imaginar, el inglés no es mi primer lengua. Pero así como me ven, yo estudié arquitectura en México, me tuve que venir aquí a los Estados Unidos para una vida mejor, pero no a ver que se supone que debería encontrar mejor apoyo para el deporte, que la verdad, dice un dicho muy sabio, educa al niño y no castigarás al adulto. Muchas gracias.
We're done with public comments? Yes, okay. We'll move on to city council comments and reports of meetings attended. I'll start to my left, Mr. Escobar.
Thank you, Mayor. Condolences to 2 families. Mr. Oscar Gastelum passed away recently, and Dr. Cosero Camora, cardiologist in El Centro, also passed away recently. My condolences to both of their families. I was invited to join the County Ag Benefit Advisory Committee. Basically, when you start up a development for solar paneling or any type of solar development, there is a bucket of funds utilized for farm or farm-related services. So I was invited to serve on that committee, and I graciously accepted. I was going to ask Carlos, but I do want to make sure that there is no conflict of interest as an elected official joining a county beneficiary committee. I believe there isn't, and county council for the county is also looking into it, but I just want to double check that to make sure that it is not an issue. It is not a compensated position, obviously.
Right, I don't believe there's a conflict, but I can look into that as well for you.
Thank you. I also attended the IBDC quarterly meetings and economic roundtable. And also want to point out to the community that there will be a General Assembly and Economic Summit coming up May 17th and 18th. Lastly, we know there is a significant lack of parks in the city of Calexico. It is obvious. There's been multiple housing developments where the funds tended to walk away and not be utilized in the appropriate fashion. It's neither here nor there. It happened 10, 15 years ago. My question, and I'm new to the council, we have a number of schools in the area, and instead of the kids playing in retention basins, what are the roadblocks in utilizing school fields for sports programs in lieu of the fact that we have minimal parks, which would make it safer for the kids, obviously not utilizing retention basins? And again, I don't know the dynamics of working with a school district, but is that an option? I pose that to you, Mr. Manager, City Manager.
Thank you. Mr. Hodge?
I'm just going to follow on what Councilor Escobar said, and I'm not trying to be egotistical, but my first term, I offered an idea of a sports summit, and Mrs. Toller graciously accepted, and the staff worked very hard. But part of that summit was to coordinate and schedule various sports to various parks. So now I'm wondering what happened to that system, because it sounds like we're not aware of the parks and when you're playing, and not accommodating for lights. So we need to go back and sit together and create a schedule for everybody, and really focus on the parks. We need to be aggressive on grants for parks. And thank you for enlightening me, and I will start to visit more parks. I had an education on Saturday. I did go for coffee with a cop. That was very good, but more educational was Maribel Padilla, is that correct, her last name? She leads the Brown Bag Coalition, and she should be commended because she gets various kids and adults supervising, and we go down various streets in downtown and we clean up the streets. And she says, and she's prepared. She's got the gloves, she's got the bags, she's very well prepared. I was impressed. And so I supervised a group of young men, and we went down Heber. And picking up the trash tells you something. The trash speaks to you. It says something. And there's a lot of trash where men or women are loitering, and they're eating burritos, and they crumble up the I forget what kind of, it's not paper, aluminum, foil. And there are forks and spoons on the ground. Lots of cigarette butts. We picked them up. There are areas where we should have plants. They're planter areas. We haven't done anything about that. We need to beautify more Calexico, but there was a lot of trash in there. I was amazed. You get real close up. You walk the streets, and I've done that before. You can see how dirty our downtown is. That's a priority for me, is to clean it up. You mentioned the trees. I have been concerned about the trees. Cole and 111, the four corners there, a lot of trees are dead or they're dying. I thought we had some kind of water system, but it's not working. And it's very important to beautify the entrance of Calexico. Well, all of Calexico should be clean. But it's like when a stranger or someone comes to your home, they walk into your living room, that's the first impression they get. And if it's dirty and messy, that's what they're going to think about you. So I really would like for us to focus on the four corners and the trees. The trees are dying. The water is not getting to the trees. We should not neglect that. Or four corners, be a little more innovative. This is a desert. Put desert cactus, beautiful desert cactus on the four corners. I believe we have an emergency, and we need to immediately correct this. We only have 4 dispatchers. City Manager, this is an emergency. We need to get more dispatchers as like police officers in there. I would like to find a day, maybe next week, that you and I go there, if you would like, Mr. City Manager, and see the station. Something is very important that is being neglected. These dispatchers do not have a legal break. And when you're working long hours, you need a break and a lunch break. And they do have a lunch break. If it's their choice to sit there at that same station and eat, that's fine. But I know many people that work, when they have a lunch break, they want to get away from the area so that they can just calm down and relax. Those are labor law violations. So we need to correct that as soon as possible. They need to have a scheduled legal break. Some of them have to wait a long time for an officer to come and relieve them so that they can go to the bathroom and relieve themselves. That's terrible. That's wrong. So this is an emergency in my case. A resident approached me to tell his concerns about an abandoned house. I do have a few here, if you'll permit me, that is being used for drug activities. The home is next to 625 Canal Street. A little while back, John Moreno had brought it up, and we cleaned up that house. But since then, a couple of years, we've not kept sight on it, and it's a real eyesore, and it's dangerous for children to get close to that home. So we need to look into that, please. Mr. City Manager, one more item. What is the situation with the fire station? I know we have our hands full, sir, and I know the priority is to balance our budget and not go under. And I know a lot of things are on hold. But could you update us on the fire station? And I'm curious if we're going to move the fire station, not revamp that fire station, but build a new one, and where would that be?
I believe this could be a future agenda item.
Yeah.
To give the city manager.
These are council
This is something.
comments only,
This is
it's not
just council
discussion.
comments.
Excuse me?
This is a future agenda item.
So I have no right to ask him?
Well, I don't think he's prepared to give that.
Okay,
That's a big.
then can you-
Just real quick, there was a presentation that was made by the former chief, fire chief, and where he sought council action for the council to allow him to pick, or allow us to pick an alternative from the study that we did. I think the meeting, I want to say it was January or early February, where we got council direction to direct the funds that were allocated to continue to study the existing facility and make improvements to that facility. As you may know, there's some Measure H bonds that were allocated to from a bond. They were
It's been a few years now.
they were allocated to build a new facility or reconstruct the existing facility. And the decision of the council, if I recall, was to reconstruct that facility. We are working with the design team to make, the final design schematics for that construction.
All right, very good. That's all I want to know. Thank you for giving the information. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Pacheco?
I'm sorry I missed the state of the city. I was sick with the flu, but I think things went well, and there was a nice write-up in the paper, and I caught up, and I think it went well for us, and we're still under construction. Mr. Finley, do me a favor. How many parks have lights besides Gutierrez? 5. We have lights in those other 5? Yes. Can these soccer people utilize those campos? Because if this one's being overly used, it's not the only one that they can use. There's other parks that they can use for soccer. They are using, I thought the majority was using Gutierrez. And they all have lights. No, the question was, are they on timers? Are the lights on most of the time?
Timers are on every single day up to, I think it's 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
So there is at least 5 parks with lights that they can utilize. And the concern they have was that the grass isn't, apparently they're not being watered, and the grass isn't kept up. I don't know, that's part of the queja.
When it rained, those retention basins were flooded.
Oh, they get flooded.
And then when it rained, the sprinklers are on. I think that was a problem too. But there is 5 parks with lights that they can use for soccer currently. Okay.
Mr. Pacheco, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Of those 5 parks, which 5 are retention basins? I counted 3. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
Thank you.
May I interject? Thank you, Mr. Pacheco, offering and letting them know that there are 5 lights and 5 parks or retention basins. But I still believe we have a problem. We need to coordinate. We need to really coordinate when we need to know when they're going to do their sports and make sure the lights are on. I believe them when they say they go there and the lights are not on. So that's a problem we need to correct.
The only issue utilizing school property, there's no lights. And they lock up the schools, and the Little League field is being currently used for high school softball, the Emerson Little League field on Heber.
Okay.
And I think that has lighting. And other than that, the high school field has lights, but these little parks and retention basins do have lighting. So that's a plus for us. But it's just the maintaining, I think, of the parques that need to be better scheduled. But I don't know, we're shorthanded. We're shorthanded.
Well, we
with
need to
personnel.
coordinate and work out something here.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I did have a conversation with our recreational director. And there is a once-a-year coordination meeting with all the leagues. Okay, and they talk about scheduling and times and all the sports throughout the year. I think the crux of the problem is that we just don't have enough parks for all the leagues. They're all fighting for the same time, the best times, So in terms of the coordination, it takes place. It's once a year, every year. They go through the timings, and of course everybody wants the best times. Everybody wants, normally they want right after school before it gets dark. So the more the sport grows, there's a higher demand for parks, and we just don't have enough parks to deal with. But I will take these comments and these comments by the council and have another talk with our Public Works Director and our Recreational Development Director to see if we can improve or if there's any problems It sounds to me like somebody also had a complaint about the lights, and the lights were not on when they're supposed to be on. So we'll check on that.
Great.
Is there a problem with the Little League? Because Little League is starting to, or is there, is there problems with the field? And, you know, we were here first, Te Ganamos were here, and is that an issue?
Obviously, there's a lot of that takes place because some of the coaches and some of the organizers don't go to the meeting where the times are scheduled. So the information doesn't trickle down to them as to when they're supposed to leave the field and when
What's
they're supposed to show
available.
up. So there's always a little bit of conflict like that. But I think, we can do a better job of educating them about the times again. So.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hurtado?
A couple of comments, actually. First of all, I'd like to say hello to my daughter. I noticed that we have some college students, and I have a 20-year-old college student as well. She's attending UC Irvine, and we were talking the other day because, of course, nationally and worldwide, there's a lot of issues with people who are out traveling, and I just wanted to tell her that we're out here praying for everyone that's traveling because our world does have quite a bit of very scary stuff for people that are out there. So I wanted to make sure that she knew that I don't like to use FaceTime because she always wants me to do that, so I tell her to come watch here, and she could see her mom in action. I'm not going to see her for another 6 months, so praying just that our world be a little safer place. Speaking of safer place, I did listen to Mr. Peroni's comments, and while we do have a department that is struggling, I do want to say that I do commend the department because the department has done very positive things within what they have available to them. I actually personally had a break-in in my home in July of last year, and I just went to court 2 weeks ago, and the person that broke into my house, he was 16 years old, and it was him and another 16-year-old at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was alone at my house with my dog, and they tried to break in, and it was pretty serious because, I was alone. Even though they were 16-year-olds, two of them together could have hurt me, but unfortunately, they didn't have a very good, happy day that day because they were caught. And the officers of the Calexico Police Department acted immediately, found them, and now that young man, ever since July, he's not gotten in trouble anymore because he knows that what he did as far as trying to break into my home was a felony. And so thanks to the Calexico Police Department, they did help me out with that issue. And now we have one young man in the city of Calexico looking to change his life, hopefully. Another item that occurred last summer was that one of my friends had his vehicle stolen. They broke into his house, took the keys, but the Calexico Police Department took him a couple of months, but they recovered the vehicle. So although that the ugly stories might be out there and probably exaggerated or not, there are a lot of officers out there that definitely know what they're doing, together with our other first responders who are working with such little resources but are getting the job done. The other thing I'd like to remind everyone is that Mariachi Festival, which is our signature event, is coming up on May the 15th. It'll be a week-long event hosted by the Calexico Chamber of Commerce. And that'll be a week-long activities of salsa tasting and mariachi idol and things like that. So I hope you can all join.
Tequila tasting.
Tequila tasting. I don't go to that one. I like margaritas. So we just want to make sure that everybody knows that you can also join us for that. Let's see, what else? The other issue I think I wanted to mention was the one item that the gentleman mentioned about how a council functions and how we express ourselves. And a lot of what happens in a city, yes, we need to direct a lot of times to our chair. However, we all have different opinions, and so unfortunately, we have gone through a lot of things in this city, and reports do come out, and we do get asked a lot of questions. So we don't want to hinder anyone from their First Amendment rights either. So as far as the comment that was there, it is true. In meetings, you do have one person that is leading your meeting. However, as far as council members here, we function at a rate where we are all equal, and it is a council to manager style government. So when it's like that, then the opinion and the direction that is given to our city manager is not just one person, it is a group. So I just wanted to clarify that so that you all know that when you see comments and and statements that are being made, we do basically run independently with independent opinions that we naturally have, the opportunity and the right to say so. So the last thing that I'd like to talk about is that this morning I briefed with our city manager, Mr. Villa, and my focus, my number one focus was parks. And he knows that we had a pretty strong conversation this morning. And so, you know, Mr. Villa, you could see, I didn't know they were coming. And I do know that this does exist out there because we've been so in tune and in touch with the needs. But the instability that the city has suffered is basically seeing another victim to what we have here in the city. So I guess throughout all of this conversation and listening to everything, I know that we need to say that today we're starting some projections or focusing on priorities and interests, what the city actually wants to do. And when we say city, it's the council. So one of the last items on here, you will see that we're going to start having that kind of conversation, that where are our priorities. And so my point this morning with Mr. Villa was that I know for a fact that priorities here in the city is our sports programs, because we do have a very active group. And personally, I witnessed a lot of these groups grow up from very small children up until superstars, where they're getting their college education paid by their sports skills. So it's that important to our families here in Calexico. We had zero recognition in many of our sports here in Calexico in competition with the rest of the schools in the valley. Now we are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And that didn't happen by itself. It happened because you had people like Mrs. Estrada, together with parents like that gentleman there that spoke, that it wasn't necessarily the city staff itself, but it was the combination of the city staff with the city, with the residents, to get this stuff to happen and make these children grow and shine. But right now, what this community and myself has been telling you, Mr. Villa, since you started, is that we lack that coordination, that maintenance schedule, just a simple maintenance schedule. You say that it's once a year where the meeting happens together with the community. I personally have never seen that. So, and here we go, I can see somebody not saying that they've never seen it either. So I'm not sure if maybe we need to actually, like what we asked this morning, Mr. Villa, was to focus a lot more. You told me that we needed to see if the rest of the council was also concerned about sports in the city. You have seen today that, yes, it is true. So I would like to then reiterate what we said this morning, that there are certain projects that have come to your desk that you have spent a lot of time on, and a lot of effort, and a lot of money, and a lot of staff time. The staff, I think, needs to also remember that the community also has certain needs, and those needs need to be balanced. And what you told me this morning was there was no money. And so I've heard that for 6 years. There's no money. So I think that what I was trying to tell you this morning was let's go ahead and see what exact funds, and that's a conversation I was just having now with someone, because you have funds from general fund, you have funds coming from different CFDs, you have different funding sources. So because those different funding sources are out there and are not recognized by this council as of yet, because as they told you, some of them are newbies, that's why I felt that it was really important to prioritize. But like you said, we're here now, and today I really know that that the quality of life of our city has a lot to do with our sports programs. It's all we got. So thank you very much for all of you for what you said, and thank you very much, council, for looking at it as a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on my comments, I think I'm going to say them in Spanish, just because there's a lot of people here that possibly could, English is their second language, and I want them to hopefully understand where I'm coming from anyways. Primeramente, quiero dar las gracias a la gente que está aquí ahora con estos temas tan importantes como los parques de nuestra ciudad. Temas como los parques, los árboles, la policía, la limpieza de la ciudad. Creo que es importante que la gente entienda que una de las situaciones por qué no tenemos parques es por las decisiones de gente que ha estado aquí en el pasado, hace 20 años, 15 años. La mayoría de estos lugares que han construido casas desde el área de East Side, el lado oeste, el lado oeste, todas estas compañías que han venido a hacer casas a la ciudad de Calexico deberían de haber tenido de menos un parque por cada número de casas que hicieron. Desafortunadamente los concilios en el pasado les daban la oportunidad de no hacerlo y eso estaba mal. Obviamente los water retention bases, que son donde están jugando ahorita, volvemos a no son parques. De hecho, yo creo que no son ni saludables que estén jugando ahí nuestros hijos, pero no tenemos otra. ¿Por qué? Porque eso es algo que desde el pasado desafortunadamente dejaron que pasara. Ahorita ya la gente que está buscando entrar a la ciudad de Calexico a construir casas, hacer casas, el concilio ahorita y con el city manager les está poniendo ese requisito de que a fuerzas hay que hacer cierto de áreas verdes para nuestra comunidad. Yo creo que este problema de los parques va a crecer más todavía, porque tenemos César Chávez que están abriendo para la Garita Nueva y ahí hay 2 parques de béisbol que ya no van a poder usar. Entonces la liga de Little League también va a ocupar parques. Entonces se está viniendo difícil la situación y todo lo que tiene que ver con eso, pero al fin y al cabo todos los temas que estamos tomando, los parques, los árboles, por ejemplo, que yo sé que el señor González con Arbor Day y todo, y le gusta mucho plantar árboles por toda la ciudad, pero siempre le comentaba yo, ¿de qué sirve plantar un árbol si nadie lo va a cuidar? Si se va a morir, si no hay agua. No sé si se acuerdan, hace poco hubo un recorte de agua a nivel estatal, que no podías ni regar tu zacate. Entonces, tenemos que entender que podemos cambiar la mentalidad de que podemos tener todo verde como Coachella y Palm Springs y todo eso, porque no tenemos los recursos, el dinero como ellos. Si ves las ciudades como Yuma, Phoenix, Arizona, manejan un sistema de desert landscape, donde usan no usan zacate, pero usan tierra o piedras o algo. Tenemos que cambiar a esa mentalidad porque el agua va a ser un recurso que cada año es más difícil gastar agua, ¿no? Entonces, en cuestión de la policía, igual. Desafortunadamente, por el ingreso de la ciudad, estamos en la situación que estamos. La policía, yo tengo toda la fe y la confianza que están haciendo lo más que pueden, desafortunadamente con lo que tienen, pero no es bastante. Y todas estas cosas vienen al budget, a lo que es el dinero. ¿Por qué estamos en la situación que estamos? Por el dinero, por decisiones que se han tomado en el pasado, que nos han puesto aquí. Gracias a Dios, ahorita ya tenemos, se puede decir, un budget que la estamos haciendo, pero no tenemos dinero extra. No hay dinero extra para tener los 60 policías que queremos. No hay dinero extra para contratar gente para limpieza. Tenemos una persona en la ciudad de Calexico para todos los parques, una solamente, y unos ayudantes que le ayudan que contratamos, pero no es lo suficiente. Podemos gritar, pegar, hacer todo lo que quieramos, sin dinero no se puede hacer nada. Le doy gracias a gente en la comunidad, como esta señora Maribel Padilla y gente Javier González y gente que hacen todo lo posible ellos por tener ciudadanos que los ayudan a limpiar downtown, limpiar las calles, pero esa es la responsabilidad de la ciudad, por eso pagamos impuestos. No, aunque igual les doy las gracias por ayudar, pero no debe de ser así. La ciudad debe de tener esas áreas limpias porque por eso pagamos impuestos y quiero recordarles que los impuestos más altos en el valle, los impuestos más altos en el valle y ni así. Entonces estamos trabajando muy fuerte, sí les puedo, el concilio que tenemos ahorita, en ayudar los problemas financieros primero, porque eso es lo primordial, arreglar eso, que lo estamos arreglando, yo creo que estamos ahí y ahora sí. El problema más grande es el crecimiento. La ciudad de Calexico recibe dinero del comercio, tenemos que entender eso. Y si miran downtown, si miran las tiendas, si miran las líneas de 2 horas y media que la gente que nosotros necesitamos que venga a gastar dinero aquí, que es la gente de Mexicali, ¿por qué no viene? O sea, tenemos muchos problemas que nos han pegado muy fuertes que nosotros no tenemos ningún control. Desde el 9/11, que las líneas se fueron a 2 horas y feria, a la devaluación del peso, a la ida de los bancos, todas estas cosas que nos han sucedido, o sea, no fueron, nosotros aquí no tenemos control de eso, son cosas que pasan a niveles federales, ahora con la pared el muro que quieren levantar, nos han venido cosas muy pesadas a la ciudad de Calexico. Gracias a Dios todavía estamos aquí, estamos trabajando, pero no ha habido ayuda del gobierno federal o estatal que nos levante de donde estamos. Somos una ciudad que tenemos muchos gastos que no tienen otras ciudades como el centro, Brol, Imperial, como tener gente dirigiendo el tráfico todo el día. Eso es un costo muy grande. Las otras ciudades no lo tienen, pero esta gente está entrando y se van a gastar el dinero a otras ciudades, no se están quedando aquí. Entonces el comercio, sigo con que el comercio es lo más importante. Tenemos que traer comercio a Calexico para que haya dinero para regresarnos a las cifras de 2010, donde teníamos 270 empleados. Estábamos a ese nivel. Ahora tenemos 130, 140. Hemos perdido arriba de 100 empleados en los últimos 6, 7 años. Entonces, primero es arreglar la cosa económica y luego el crecimiento y luego poder regresar a lo que ocupamos estar en cuestión de empleos para darles a la gente la ciudad que se merecen. Pero bueno, gracias. Vamos a seguir. Next on the agenda. Yes. I'll take your comment, but if you can, for the record.
Acá había una empleada que trabajaba en la ciudad antes, Adriana López. Ella acaba de morir el viernes pasado.
Adriana López.
Adriana López.
Okay.
Aquí estaba en la ciudad antes.
Okay, for the record.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Condolences to her family. And go ahead.
I just want to interject real quickly. The mayor said a lot of good points. There's a lot of truth to what he said.
I always do. What do you mean?
But the tone and everything is really pessimistic, and I don't want that. I don't want no's. I believe that even with no money, we can work together as a community, and we can change things. We can make it better. There's still hope, and I have a lot of optimism that we're going to turn the corner and we're going to make things better. And we need to get closer with the community and work with you. We can do it, even now, starting now. Okay? Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry if I sounded,
Well,
negative. I don't want to. I don't
It's
want
what
to.
it is.
I'm sorry.
It's what it is.
I don't exactly.
No, you said what it is, but-
I'm not trying to sound negative. It's realistic, and I'm sorry if some people see it as negative, but that's the reality. And I think the people need to know that. I think we're up here. We're no longer running for council. There's no need to sugarcoat things. This is the reality. We need to work on it, and we will. And with the city manager and the council we have, I'm sure we'll get there. But let's move on. We'll move on to consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are to be considered routine.
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we always forget.
I'm sorry. City manager comments.
Yes,
Please.
Mr. Mayor,
You have 3 minutes.
I have a couple of comments.
No, he doesn't.
Thank you very much. And I do agree with you on your comments. We don't want to sound
Mine, right? Mine.
pessimistic, but there's an element of reality that we need to face, right? We just went through a very harsh, and I would say very harsh year, and fixing our finances, and we're believe it or not, we're picking it up. But we need to be a little more patient because eventually, though, we budget and we appropriate monies on a yearly basis. So if you recall, over the last year, we had to make a whole bunch of cuts. We made a whole bunch of cuts, and a lot of the programs were cut. This next year, you will have an opportunity, when you develop the budget for next year, to allocate and prioritize where you want funds to be put for next year. And hopefully, I'm hearing very loud and clear that recreation is an important component. So we're going to be working on that. And then on the other issue with the police department, I did have a meeting with HR, and as you know, we had to make a very substantial cuts to our budget, and we're monitoring the expenses very closely. So we are making sure that we're very careful when and who we hire to replace people that leave, because we don't want, again, we don't want a runaway budget as in the past. So we are putting, extra attention to those people that are leaving in the dispatching unit in the police department and the police department. So, like I said, we have met with HR, and we've gone through a very fine analysis on making sure that we right-size and that we will have money to be able to pay for those positions when we do recruit them back. So we are analyzing that closely. And then lastly, Mr. Mayor, I do want to make a statement. We have a special meeting coming up next week, May 9th, and as I indicated at the last meeting, we are planning to bring back to you the financial statement, the certified financial statement for 2016. We are working on it as we speak, and we have talked to our auditor, and everything points to that we will have that ready for you to review and consider. And at the same time, we are going to be presenting to you the capital, a presentation on the capital improvement program and all the projects that are going to be taking place over the summer and early part of next year. And also, we are planning to have a little deviation with our meeting on the 17th. We are planning, and we received an invitation from the City of Mexicali to, as you know, to re-sign the sisterhood agreement that we've had signed with them before. So I think it's our time to invite the mayor from Mexicali to come here and re-sign it. And I believe we need to make a couple of tweaks. I was thinking that perhaps we could meet with the mayor of Mexicali as a council around 5:30, and then go through the ceremonial proceedings, and then we can reconvene right after that meeting, reconvene as a council to deal with council business right after that. I was thinking probably 6:30 or 7, and I wanted to open it up for discussions for you.
Okay. I think that's good. So we would now have closed session. That's pretty much what.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Or we can have closed session right after regular business
I think
items.
I'm okay with that. Is everybody on board?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds good. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's move on to consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are to be considered routine by Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, and will be enacted in one motion on the list as listed. Any item may be removed by consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. Does anyone wish to remove any items?
I would just like more clarification on item 8.
Okay, so we remove item 8.
Remove item 8.
So I will make a motion to approve 5, 6, 7, and 9, 10, and 11.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 8, we will pull item 8, resolution of Calexico City Council, Calexico authorizing investment of city funds in the local agency investment fund administered by State Treasurer.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this is a request to authorize me and the finance director to be able to move back most of our investments, some of the city funds, back to what's called the local agency investment fund that's administered by the state treasurer. You know, over the last couple of years, previous administration had made the decision to move the money out of those funds into into other funds, which have not been yielding enough returns. Being part of the local agency investment fund would allow us the opportunity to, and there's an exhibit in here that shows the returns. I think the returns are much better. They're not by any means large because these funds have to be kept in a very secure, minimally risk funds because these are public funds. And with this request, we're basically requesting your authorization for us to be able to put back these monies into these more secured, better return trust funds.
Well, it sounds like a good deal. Can I ask the question, how much money for this particular fund?
Approximately $51 million of overall funds within different funds in the city.
I see. Thank you.
Motion to approve, item 8.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll move to discussion and potential action items. Item 12, appointment of City Council Resident Commissioner of Calexico Financing Authority, Calexico Housing Authority. I would like to make the speaker.
Mr. James Weaver?
Yes, I believe item number 12, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I just basically like to recommend Mr. Johnny Romo for that position. I think he's one of the best qualified and knowledgeable individual, and kind of keep them in line with the Brown Act, Rules and Regulation of Housing. So I'm just here to give my support and to please consider this individual's talent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I take note here that I do not see
His name is not on.
yeah, his name is not on there, but I would like to nominate Mr. Mario Acevedo. If I have a second.
You have a second with me, sir?
All in favor?
Aye.
I have somebody else in mind.
Would you
Mayor,
like to make a motion?
I want to nominate,
There's Marcelino Ochoa and George Pelayo.
Marcelino Ochoa. That was my, but you made the motion already.
The motion, we have a motion, correct? So, was there a motion for Mario Acevedo? I think he's been there for a while. Is he here? Okay, so he's been there for a while.
Is he
I made the
present?
motion. I have a second. Do I have all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion dies for no third vote. There's a motion. You want to make a motion for the next one, Mr.? No votes for, yeah.
I have a letter from the third candidate. Did you guys receive a letter from the third candidate?
George Pelayo?
Stating his qualifications and his expertise. That's the only letter that I received.
I do not have a letter.
Mhm.
Did Mario just die? Mario, did he just die? Did he die?
I guess so, yeah.
Well,
So we need to nominate.
you need to make another motion?
Do a comment? Okay. Sure. On this item, right? Item 12?
Yes, on
Okay.
the same item. My name is Juan Villarreal. I am a member of commissioners on the Housing Authority, and of all the 3 members that are there, if you will remember, you yourself said this at a previous meeting, and you said you wanted the most qualified person, you wanted the person that knew about what was going on there. Well, of all the people that are there, Mr. Acevedo is the most qualified person that's there. And if you're going to use the same criteria as you have in the past, he's the most qualified.
His
He
first
has-
name is Mario, sir?
I'm sorry?
His first name is Mario, did you say?
Mario Acevedo.
Mario.
Okay.
Mr. Villarreal, thank you for your comment. I mean, there's been a motion, so we will move on. There's someone that's not, well, actually, no, a resident, correct. So Marcelina Ochoa was, did you make the motion?
I would make a motion for Marcelino Ochoa.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion dies. Would you like to make a motion, Mr. Pacheco?
Well, there's only one candidate left, but let's do the,
Again,
let's do it again.
I will make, It was Pacheco
Abstain.
and Hodge abstain, did not vote, or noes.
Or noes.
I'll make the motion again for Mario Acevedo.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so 3-1? Or,
I voted aye.
aye, okay, 4-0. Mr. Acevedo, thank you.
Motion by Mayor, second by,
Hodge.
and I have a vote of Pacheco.
Continue to make us proud, okay?
3-1.
No, he voted yes.
It's
Well-
4-0, it was 4-0.
4-0, okay, 4-0. Moving on to item 13, appointment by mayor and council members to the following commissioners, boards, and committees: Calexico Police Advisory and Business Improvement District. Who do we still have that needs commissioners there?
I've got my name here twice, but I appointed somebody to the bid about a month ago.
Okay.
I have to double check on
So you have a bid member already?
And Calexico Police, yes, that's right, thank you. And for the,
Police?
for the Police Advisory Board, Antonio Garcia.
Antonio Garcia. Okay.
That should complete my, my commissions.
Okay, moving on to item 14,
I
discussion.
I'm sorry.
Does anybody else have?
I
don't-
think I have a vacancy because of the problems with one of my selections that we're having a hard time. So I will need to add a different name to the,
Mr. Pacheco, I believe it's got to be on the agenda, though.
no, I'm in the future, to bring it up again to
Okay,
vote.
to bring it up,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Because
have,
the
I'll have
only
a
one on
vacancy.
here, the only one on here is Escobar, to
Yeah.
make any changes.
Yeah, no.
No, actually, I still need one too.
Okay, so we would,
need my
for the,
bid.
for the next meeting, we will have,
I need my bid. I haven't appointed a person yet? Yeah, because Mr. Anyway, I don't have one. So can I? You already did. No. He's been on board for I don't know how long, so you did it a long time ago.
Me?
Well, yeah, you were my last bid.
Oh, yeah, but only for a couple.
Right, so
And then I had to.
you have already published ever since November, right, the position? Okay, so I have not selected since the last time you, correct?
I guess my question is, can we make the selection even though it's not on the agenda?
No.
No.
There's
that's-
the Business Improvement District is B, isn't it?
Yes, but on the agenda, staff report, only Escobar is the one that's on there. It would have to be to the next meeting.
Put those on the next future. the future.
Correct.
That's correct.
That is the.
Oh, so you
S-
must have forgotten that I didn't
standing-
have one?
Standard operating procedures. Next, okay. Moving on to item 13. 14. Discussion regarding parameters of future strategic planning and goal-setting workshop.
All right, Mr. Mayor.
Notice that it wasn't on there? We talked about it this morning.
Who's this?
Mr. Horton. Very valuable community member.
Okay.
I guess.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Come on down.
Come on down, yeah.
So, over the last,
Mr. Horton?
We have a public comment on item 14.
Public comment. Sorry. Ben Horton, Calexico. In reference to this, I just want to remind the board that we had one on 2015, and if I'm not mistaken, in December, we had another meeting, which, if I'm not mistaken, none of the city council persons came to that meeting. That was in December.
For the finance?
No, for the strategic planning deal. We had a meeting
Were we sworn in already?
December.
I know.
You came in November, right? Or
December 7th.
Okay, I think you were sworn in. Even if you weren't sworn in, you should at least made an attempt to be there and know.
Don't remember.
Or you just go to only things that you're
No.
sworn into. Okay?
I don't think so.
Okay, now, we're talking about, it seems funny that this council and the city in general continues to have meetings after meetings, making decisions after decisions, and once the decisions are made, they stop. I remember we had this 2015, we tried to implement it, and there were some issues about the signs. He didn't like what the board had said they wanted to do. Now, I have no problem about having another, what do you want to call it, get-together, and I use the word get-together, and I don't mean to be nice about it, but yet we have another get-together. But let's try to do something once we get together and set ideas forward. It seems that we have these meetings, we do all this nice little planning, and that's where it stops. It stops. And I have respect for everybody to sit up here, but also I have respect for the city in general. And you're the, let's say, the ones that are supposed to guard the welfare of the city and put these ideas together. In 2015, we put these nice ideas and we tried to implement it, but certainly everybody had an issue about, I don't want to do it now. And I think that I have no problem about doing it, but let's put something together. 2009, I'll give you a for instance, we had a meeting like that. I believe you got a grant for about $65,000 to put it together, 2009. It was held at the, I believe the De Anza Hotel. There was a book published, and that's where it stopped. Last year, I gave a presentation to the BID saying that the GSA had put together a plan for downtown. I found a developer that was willing to put the money to talk to the different business owners, and it stopped right there. I put together folders and everything, presented it to the BID, and it stopped right there. So we're going to be doing things. I suggest we do it and follow it through to the end.
Implement.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Horton.
I would like to make a quick comment. I think I would echo part of Mr. Horton's comments. I was actually in one of the strategic planning goal-setting workshops in 2015, and it had pretty much, I think, all the bullet points that the council wanted. But that is correct. There was a process that wasn't followed, I believe, to go ahead and implement this. So hopefully the council this time around could make sure that we implement these
Yes.
these policies. So I hope that we can do that. But again,
May I?
Sure.
I respectfully disagree with some of your comments, and I'll tell you why. 2015 and 2017 for the city and its budget are worlds apart. Worlds apart. The city council is a much different city council. We're more than willing to work together for the benefit of the Calexico community. And I think that's the important thing that you want follow-through, and we need to give you follow-through. That's what I think you're looking for, and those were some of your comments, and that's what I want. Because I'm not here to be a lame duck city council member for 4 years. We need results, and we need to show you the community results, bottom line. And that's why we're doing this, and I've been pushing this, and I call it an offsite for months now. And even though it's been done in 2015, I am cautiously optimistic that this will be significantly different because our atmosphere is significantly different from multiple standpoints. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I want to back that up. This is 2017. This is a new council. And I think we're working better to get together, but we need to come together to see the whole picture. We already know what's one priority, and those are the parks. And you are absolutely right. We need to implement. And on my part, I will make sure I will become a pain in someone's you-know-what to make sure that we implement our goals and our priorities. So I agree with Councilman Escobar. This is different, and we're going to move forward.
Thank you. Let's continue.
Okay.
This is just an informational item, correct?
Yeah, so I'd like to seek direction from the council. Actually, the reason why this item is here is because over the last couple of months, we've been talking about entertaining a strategic planning process, right? And you know, the whole purpose of this process is to be able to develop a list of goals. So it's kind of like a goal-setting session. And when I was going through our files, I came across this document that I think has all the elements that we're going to need to be able to take the city forward. I just didn't know if this council was interested in developing a fresh new set of goals and objectives, or was interested in capturing what we've done in the past and building on this. When I read this document, I felt that approximately 90% of the issues that we have today and some of the comments that the community brings to us are here in the plan. Parks, image, economic development, downtown, reorganization, administration, all the elements and all the concerns were folded into a set of goals and objectives for us to build on. I think they're here, but I wanted to make sure that you guys gave me further direction. Do we start with a new strategic planning process? Do we start with a new SWOT analysis? Or do we build on this? And that's kind of the direction that I wanted to get from you. If you're not interested in entertaining this document, you feel that it was a different council, it was a different time, a different set of circumstances, then we will start from scratch.
Can I make, let me make a comment on that. I believe you're right. I think that most 90% maybe even more of what we had back in the past will be the same. But maybe giving the council a copy of that so that the council could digest it, do their homework on it, and see it. And if they believe that we should go off of that, then that could be the council making that decision. The reason is because monies are an issue. Paying another $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a consultant to come in and for us to tell them the same thing could be definitely spent on half a police officer's salary or something like that. So that's true. So we do need to. I would say that we read it, digest it, and see if there's. I was at one of these, and I'm not saying they're not important. I think it's really important that the council get together, but to pay for it, you can say is I think we can get Ben Horton can probably do this. It's
Facilitated.
It's not something out of this world. Doing a SWOT analysis or something like that. I believe with the council retreat and the city manager and his experience, we could probably do the same than with a consultant coming in and charging us a lot of money for this. So that's my opinion. I would like to hear the council's.
Yes.
Mayor, may I?
Go ahead.
I think the difference here is not their priorities for the city that you mentioned, and I value your recommendation significantly as far as parks, public safety, infrastructure are concerned. The dynamic that has changed significantly in Calexico and the part that we need to fix is the revenue streams. I think that is something that the prior offsite or strategic planning session 2015 failed to capture. And in looking at this, some of the information is clear and accurate, but other information doesn't really relate to our current financial situation. If we have 75 cents, we can't spend $1 because we only have 75 cents. So the issue here is allocating the appropriate funds to the appropriate line items, be it infrastructure, public works, parks, recreation, public safety, whatever it may be, as a council that best fits what the community's needs are. And I think that's where the dynamic has changed significantly, where we no longer have a budget of 18 or 19 million as it was thought in 2015. Our budget, if I remember correctly, is 14 million, which is significantly lower. So our priorities have changed. Well, our priorities have not changed. The funds to utilize for those priorities have changed. So that means our priorities will need to change based on our new budget.
On page 12, if you look at on page 12, they identify 6 areas, and they prioritize them, number 1, 2, 3. Revenue streams and finance is number 5. I think if we can all come to an agreement that that should be number 1, economic development, number 2, and maybe even move up parks. But this is just what they came up with, and this was we're going to attack number 1 first. Let's get the organization. Sure, we have a lot of holes in our staffing. I think that's what that was.
And I think one of the key elements to come out of this is to establish specific goals to give our city manager, who is more than capable of fulfilling those goals with established timeframes, and then honestly backing off as a city council and letting him do his work.
Yes.
If I may add, I think that what maybe Mr. Pacheco is trying to say, that he believes that the goals are the same, they might just have to be reorganized.
Prioritized
So,
differently.
and again, when we, in 2015, when the revenues and finances are number 5, because obviously our manager and our finance director at the time was saying that we were okay financially, which it didn't turn out to be that. But now, obviously, that could be priority number 1. So I understand both sides. I think that for the sake of saving money and possibly helping our city manager, that we do a retreat where these targets 1 through 5 now, or 1 through 6, could be reorganized to fit this council, help the city manager, and you are correct, Escobar, that what the city council needs to do is let him do his job and set a guidelines where the city manager will be, I guess, graded or on his performance on these issues, and let him do his job. So that is, I think there's a way to merge that, and I would like to.
What we do have that's different is that strengths and weaknesses are very different now. Our weaknesses are no longer some of those items that are on that list. This board is more receptive to one another and the needs of the cities. We're more united, is the word I want to use. So as a strength, I think that is a strength, not a weakness. And there's some weaknesses there that are still there, but I think strengths, weaknesses, opportunities might be the same, but it's a different council. We have a different focus. We have no money. I think that's number 1.
But
revenues. So we can get together and just give the city manager, maybe next meeting, what we think would be prioritizing.
And I also think it's important that we take into consideration that, look, if every time a new city council comes on, which we're going to have another election coming in a year and a half, we're going to scratch this and try and do another one, we can't. We need to take, and we need to make sure that we continue the job of the previous city council and move forward. I can guarantee you that these 5, 6 issues are probably going to be the same ones that we're going to look at, and if we wanted to add 1 or 2, that's fine, but to pay somebody to come in and do this, I don't see spending money on this.
Mayor, I think the reason that we are in somewhat in agreement, yet not in total agreement, is a primary reason why we should all get together with a third party facilitating the meeting so that we can give Mr. Villa clear direction based on our current financial status as to what we need to do. And we're not going to be able to do it with us 5 as a city council with him without a facilitator. We need a third-party facilitator.
How much is that going to cost?
Independent of cost, the long-term savings are going to be significant, and we're going to give him clear savings.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Direction, I'm sorry, not savings.
regardless of if you want to redo it or if you want to build on this, we're still going to bring back Mr. Henry Garcia to help us finalize this document. We were hoping that you can give me parameters so I can allocate some funds either to bring him in for 4 hours or 20 hours or 40 hours. I was planning that perhaps we can begin our strategic planning process either to build on this or to start from scratch, the week of May the 23rd, that week, or soon after that. So that's kind of the basic guidance that I needed from you. If you want to take some time to look at this thing, to see if you still feel strongly about these issues, then we don't have to make a decision today. We have another meeting next week, and then another meeting next week, so we can make that decision. But I wanted you to kind of think about it and then start formulating some decisions on that.
I think the balance, or what I feel is the balance of the council does want to proceed with this. I think there's maybe a couple of things we're not in agreements with, but for the sake of working together, I guess I'll take direction, see what you guys want to do. I mean,
Right.
I'm open. I would hope that we would not spend money, but if the council believes that's what we should do, I will also support it, and give direction to the city manager to continue to proceed with this strategic
Okay.
planning.
At this point, we don't need to make a motion, we should just
Give direction.
give direction, correct?
To continue.
Well, I would give direction that at least that I've voiced my opinion on for months now, that we do need this, and is extremely critical for us to get together and discuss all the things that we've discussed, prioritize them according to our budget, our very limited budget, and based on recommendations from our city manager, not just look at next fiscal year's budget, but develop a strategic plan for 1 and 3 years.
And also, will this go out to bid to different companies to do the strategic plan?
No, he already has
May I make
something.
a comment real quick?
Sure.
Mr. Garcia was the one that did that work with us the last time, and he's so invested already with us, with so much knowledge, that in order to really find the solutions right now, I think that his experience and history and knowledge that he already conducted, being that you and I, Bill, were there too, I think it was you. And he actually had applied for the city manager position, so he knows Calexico pretty well. And so because he's the one that took us through all of this to develop this, I'm pretty sure that for us to start all that over probably wouldn't be such a great idea. And he's actually a really nice guy. And I liked his positivity when he did that. He was
Okay.
really positive, and he actually got all of us with Mr. Kim and everybody to actually come into an actual agreement to have this developed. Took a whole day. And the other question, I think, or not question, but comment would be that any time that this council probably will be having lots of conversations about strategy and things like that, I think we should have our full-blown staff here as far as our leadership. For example, Public Works, which is one of the most important parts, I believe, in what we need to do here, because it's the most visible for us, is our Public Works projects. I believe he should be here all the time. Our finance director, I can see him there. But I think that if we are going to be going through strategy conversations like that, I think we should have a requirement to have our main staff here with us and follow us along this conversation and this planning, because they were there and very involved in the last planning. I think that's really important because, as you all know, we have a couple of people that are new, but your staff has rich history and knowledge that they definitely brought it to the table the last time, and I think we should involve them then this time as well. Every single conversation, because as you say, we are starting from zero, so I think we all want to be able to be at the table, but their involvement and their history and that executive experiences that they've had already, together with Mr. Garcia, I think we have a team that can actually come with something good.
I will interject, and I think you're absolutely right, Councilwoman Hurtado. I'd like to see Mr. Garcia come back. I think it's just essential that we come together, and when we do, we will look at this and we will decide whether we want to start over or use some of this. I think it's going to be a dynamic of both, but we can't solve that today. We just need to come together. And so...
But I think making the plan is probably the most important thing, is that people want to see us make a plan. And Mr. Escobar and I
We need to make a plan, and we need to implement it.
Right.
Implement it.
And the
That's
implementation is something I wanted to mention to you all real quick, is that if you'll notice, you do have target number 3 as image of the city of Calexico, which has a lot to do with cleanliness, I would assume, and focusing a lot on that cleanliness on our parks, our streets, and our downtown. However, when we tried this the last time, we were consulted with, I guess, and told, you guys need to get ready, because once you actually put your foot down and start, hammering down on these situations, people get uncomfortable and they push back. So like when you want you to clean up your downtown and you're going to say, hey, everyone in downtown, we don't want you to have those big old disgusting signs, you know, and need to bring that down. It doesn't want to look like a swap meet in downtown and, you know, clean up your,
Right.
your frontage or whatever. And when that happens, your business owners will come, and they did come.
So be it.
And well, that's, I think, where it's really super sensitive, I guess, too, because when it happened the last time, Mr. Hodge, we no longer then proceeded with the cleanup.
We need to
Because the-
believe in what our priorities are.
That's
We need to
exactly
move
what I
forward.
think we needed
Yeah.
to talk about right now.
Yes.
Is that if we will be doing these goals and objectives, that we stick to them, and that the city understand that it's a plan that we're having in order to make things better. And that if we are now going to be citing people, you know, clean up your trash, you know, sweep your frontage, you know, there's certain responsibilities to the citizen as well. And if we do that, you will have people push back at you. But you need to be strong for that, or we have to have our city manager be
Believe
strong
in
for
our
that.
goals and priorities.
Yeah,
and so be
that
it.
is unfortunate why this last plan didn't work. And then it was within all the madness and stuff. But I do want to make sure that you guys understand, it will happen.
I
But if
believe
you
you.
don't allow that pressure to get to you,
Right.
you will understand there is a certain part of bad stuff, you know, somebody's got to be a bad guy in order for us to make things better. But that's okay. I mean, the violations that are occurring out there will bring in revenue. Violations out there, when they're rectified, they will also bring in better things for us, and hopefully, eventually, a more attractive city. However, if we are soft and we're not going to be able to provide our hammer down on these people and make it happen, then we're wasting our time again.
Councilwoman
I just
Hurtado,
wanna- yeah, I'm
we
sorry.
need to be strong, and we need to move forward. And we will,
Yeah.
we will. This is a different council.
Mr. Mayor, image is just more than having downtown cleaned up. I think what we have to do is, talking to the city manager, we might need to change our logo. That logo doesn't do anything for me anymore. We're a vibrant city. We're not shaking hands with Mexicali, which we will be doing in a couple of weeks. But that has to change. We need to be more progressive. We need to be looking at a city that is looking to grow, bringing in new businesses and infrastructure. We're a city on the move. We're not shaking hands with Mexicali anymore. We do that every day. That has to change. We need to be more vibrant. We need to be, ¿me entiendes?
I echo everybody's comments, and I do agree that there was, unfortunately, from the last strategic planning meeting that the council got together, there was a lot that came out of that. But with regards to the pushback, you know, there was a lot of pushback that came after that, and it was due to sending a message. And I think we need to be very clear when we let city manager know that when the city council says that we want to clean up the city, it doesn't mean that we go after the commerce, because that's what happened. So businesses were not allowed to have flags outside that say sales and stuff like that. And the business community came up to be very upset because the city council, they were getting fined for having flags outside of their businesses that said sale or anything like that. And I thought that was overkill. And especially when our commerce is hurting that bad in the city. You know, we have to be, there's got to be a balance. We got to make sure that we don't let them just put up any sign, make sure that the sign looks okay, decent, but also let them be able to have an A-frame outside their business if they want to promote their business, because, you know, they can. So you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just don't want you to think that this plan by any means is done. What I want to take advantage of this plan is the foundation, the goals. We still have a lot of homework to do. And precisely what you said, these goals and objectives are going to yield me to go back with department heads and develop strategies. How to deal with that image problem, how to deal with the downtown problem, how to deal with the recs and parks problem, and put together a list of several strategies to deal with. And then, not only that, we're going to put timelines. We're going to put 3 months, 6 months,
That's right.
9 months, and then we're going to align these strategies with the budget, because we need to be able to allocate resources to those things. So by no means is this plan, if you choose to go with it, that we're done. We still have work to do by developing 2 more phases of strategies that are going to help us, meet the goals.
Thank you. So the direction has been given to the city manager to proceed on this, is that correct? Yeah?
I give direction.
So we'll
We're
move
going
on
to do
to,
Mr. Garcia.
We're going to bring back Mr. Garcia sometime after the week of the 23rd in May. It depends on your schedule. I'll call you individually, and then we'll have a workshop setting.
I think Mr. Garcia did a great job, and as long as.
Was it just one day, Mr. Mayor?
I'm not sure, but.
It depends. It may take us more time. We'll invest as much time as we need to be able to develop that.
Okay.
And just like I did say, I wasn't trying to talk bad about him. I think he did a great job, but if it's going to be more than a certain amount, we need to follow the right procurement processes. So let's move on. Item 15, future agenda items.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to make a clarification on the appointments. In the Business Improvement District, Mr. Escobar had made an appointment of Mr. Cesar Aguilar.
Okay.
However, I made an error and I accidentally put him as Mrs. Hurtado's
Okay.
appointment. So
Okay.
it looked like she had made one and he
Okay.
had not.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, okay.
if
There
you
was
look
a-
around, she does have a pending appointment and we
Okay.
can put that on the very next agenda.
Thank you.
I was
Appreciate it.
asking the city attorney that if the council would entertain, just to allow me to go ahead and make that, council?
I don't have a
I
problem
would
with
like
that.
to know if you would allow me to entertain
Is
the
that
decision
legally okay?
I think it's important to have it on the agenda because as you saw, there was quite a bit of discussion about the previous appointees that we had on the agenda. There was also public comments, so
But it's something
really
so simple,
important.
can't the council overcome?
It is simple, and I understand your frustration, but we really want the public to know who you're thinking about and that they're qualified, and then they can come and make public comment on that because it is a discussion item. It's not a public hearing, but it is a discussion item. So I think it's really important. And there is a special meeting next week, so we can put it on the agenda for that.
Okay. Thank you.
May I be clear
I do
about
want
this?
to, I want to ask you later so you can explain to me the difference of the other item when we had that presentation and there was a decision to give direction that day. I'd like to know the difference, just to have that clarification, because I asked once before. And things like this, you imagine they're kind of simple and.
Oh, okay, yes, I was just referring to the item 12 and 13.
I just thought
that
it was a
we
little more simple,
discussed
but okay,
tonight.
we'll go ahead and wait.
Okay. So
I'm sorry. I think it's important that the public be invited to our, was the public invited last time? Okay.
They have to be.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Okay, so let's move on to future agenda items. I would like to start, and for the future, I would like to bring, there was at one time, speaking how important the whole park issue is, there was at one time a council subcommittee that was formed for parks. And I want to make sure that comes back to life. I know it's been kind of dormant, but hopefully that can continue to work with going to the meetings as far as the beautification when that keeps going. And I think it's that committee, that subcommittee that can possibly hear the complaints from the community at these meetings and kind of bring it to the council. I also, my next item is also, I know something that has been possibly said about the commissions. I think it's important that we figure out if the model that we have of commissions is the best for the city because of the situation that we are with not having enough employees and manpower to man all these commissions, if possibly the subcommittee format could possibly work and bring that to the council and see if they want to take some action on that. And that's all for me.
Not so much of an agenda item, but if Mr. Finley could provide for us the usage of all the parks and who's using them, maybe it's oversaturated and they don't want to use other parks and just want to use one. We have other parks, but if everybody wants to use one park, it's not going to happen. So if we have available the other 4 parks and we assign them to be there, there's lights there that y'all can't be utilizing one
And if I
parquecito.
can interject, I actually was present, I'm not sure if Mr. Ben Horn went with me, but I was present at a meeting, not this year, but last year, when our director for recreation, I forget her name.
Sandra.
Yes, actually, no, Sandra, it was somebody else that was,
I know who you're talking
yeah, so she actually had a meeting, I was there. Every single person with the stake in the recreation, from DSGS to the Little League to Pop Warner to, everybody was there, including Ms. Estrada. Everybody submitted their days that they were gonna use it.
Requests.
And they do it right. They do it right. It's the extra days that are vacant that everyone's kind of trying to fight for, and the fields. And I don't agree that a field should only be used for soccer, or only be used for baseball, or only be used for another sport. You know, what happens if someone wants to start playing polo, or I mean, we need to be open to making sure every sport in the city of Calexico is healthy and has a part to play in, versus maybe only two sports. So I also, I echo that.
We'd like to see who's
Yes.
utilizing the parks and make sure that they're being.
Maybe a staff report from that
distributed.
person, a staff report from that person to come up and tell us how they do it. And I looked into it because it was something that came up in the past, and I can tell you they do it right. They do have a meeting. You know what, if you're not at that meeting, you know, then there's obviously issues, but you should be at that meeting to claim your stake. So I will also back that up. Anybody else have future agenda items?
No, Mayor, none.
Mr.
I do. But I may be wrong about this, Mr. City Manager. It might be my, just being a little behind, but I've had some people come to me and say, what is going on with our planning for Cesar Chavez? And they're very concerned with the city's planning on Cesar Chavez. And I feel that the council and the public doesn't hear or receive enough information about what's going on. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd like to request that you come up with nothing really detailed, but a action plan on Cesar Chavez, so that we know what procedures and dates, tentatively what we're going to do. And we need to let the public know how we're working on Cesar Chavez. Does that make sense, or have you done that already?
We're planning to bring to you a report next week on the capital improvement program. One of the elements of that program is Cesar Chavez. So we will bring to you some schedules and what we plan to do with that facility.
Maybe we have them printed so that each council member can have it?
Sure, we'll have a PowerPoint, yeah.
And find a way that we let the public know? Okay?
I also have a future agenda item.
That's it.
Go ahead.
In the last couple of months, conversations with my planning commissioner, we usually talk about everything that's out there, and people also ask what's going out there as far as construction and projects and stuff like that. And so, like, one conversation that I was having with someone was asking me, when are the 400 houses going to be built? And I said, I don't know. So what we had talked about was Mr. Villa possibly ensuring that on every city manager report that you update us as far as what really is going on in construction and what projects to note, I guess, that are actually in fruition, or a possibility that you inform us, because we have no idea if you're not informing us. And so when the public is out there letting us, asking us questions and we don't know, we should know.
That's what
So
I just
if we
said.
could have either, and I know that, Jesus, I was reading my notes right now, you had already mentioned this, is the fact that if we are going to be pushing on economic development, we all should be aware of what it is that's out there. So if we could, somewhere or another, either integrate it in your report or just in one agenda item, I would say, let's just do a future agenda item that says what exact projects we have going on right now and what really does look like it's going to happen. Because there's a lot of talk out there, and I, as a city council member, do not appreciate not knowing, because I believe it is important for us to know as well. And for some reason, we just have no information. And so I know that it's not appropriate either to be here every day micromanaging the staff, and it is not possible for all of us to be here during the day to talk to anybody. So I think it is just essential that if we're going to be wanting to promote and understand where the growth is going, please report that to us.
If I might add, I
So
share
that's my
some.
agenda item.
I share some of that concern. I don't think that's a future agenda item. Maybe it's
But
something
that's the
that you
agenda item I
can-
would like.
I don't think we can put that agenda item on every single agenda. I think it's part of the manager's report, and I would like to reiterate that we do that. At the same time, I do need to, and it's very frustrating to be. We all want to know what's going on sometimes, and I know that it's hard for you guys as a staff because there are things, as you know, non-disclosure agreements that certain companies want to come into the city and start doing something without anybody knowing because it is, anybody that works at the city knows that. You can't really say what's going on because it's kind of confidential, even for the council. I know that we all want to know, and we're kind of like, what's new? But I just want to say that, yeah, I think it is a good idea that the city manager report does include something on the economic development side as to what could be possibly coming to the city and where we are with that, without breaking that non-disclosure agreement with these companies. So,
I'm sorry, can I
thank you.
just finish off? The reason that we're trying to do this, I guess, Mr. Villa, is also because maybe what we could do, another thought would be if we could have like a joint meeting with our planning commissioners and have a really good conversation where this is going. Because there is no, I mean, I'm looking at her right here, and she's just like, there's a lot of stuff they're not aware of. And so I think that it's high time now that we maybe put these heads together a little, and that we actually understand, all of us, where we're at, so we all know. Like when we built the first phase of the outlets, we all knew a lot of the details as far as where we were at, and we all could follow the flow of the conversation. In this case, we have really no idea. So I think that either way you'd like to handle it, Mr. City Manager, either you do it in your report once a week, like we had talked before, or let's get an agenda item.
And I think that there is, unfortunately, on some things, there are a difference when you're using public funds that the city council does have to be involved, like Grand Plaza. But for other things, like homes being built, that's a private entity that I believe we really can't be getting involved that much on. But again, if you can help us out with the information, that'd be great.
May I interject?
Sure.
And you will concur, Mr. Mayor. I think a priority at this moment is Grand Plaza. It seems to be in trouble. So stores are leaving. So that's troublesome to me. I'd like to have a report. If you feel differently, then report that. Or a meeting with Mayor Real. Because right now I feel that Grand Plaza needs to be really attentively taken care of and worked on. It's an emergency, I think.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.